Good morning, friends. Today we are going to discuss about trade unionism. So, first and foremost, we are going to discuss about the history of trade union movement in India. So here, trade union movement is the product of industrial development since the First World War 1914 to 18. Means friend, this trade union was existed from the First World War 1914 to 18. Means actually the drastic development, radical development of the trade unionism in the industrialization is very important. Means in the British period also, means in the 18th of century, there was existed the trade unions. Means simultaneously, this trade union has changed their role and their sphere or their extent day by day, time to time, according to the fact and circumstances in the jurisprudential area. So, like that, trade unionism is the or trade union movement is the product of industrial development since the World War 1914 to 18. Actually, before that time, Indian workers were poor and did not have strong union to efforts legal fight against any exploitation. Means before 1914 to 1918, there was the workers' condition was very poor. That is why no one was ready to take efforts to protect the legal rights of the workers. They were sufferers, they were exploited by other person, but then also they were not protected themselves. So at that time, they used to follow the guidelines of government of India's Factory Act 1881. Means during that time, means up to the First World War, the laborers, the workers will also follow the guidelines which were provided under the Indian Factories Act 1881. It was enacted by the British Parliament, British government. But these provisions, whatever has provided or dealt under the Indian Factory Act 1881 according to the British system, according to the British system. And that British system, actually it was enforced in India. It was a replica of the Factory Act of England. Means whatever this provision has been provided under the English Factory Act, same Factory Act they were imposed or apply in India. So during that time, each and every provision of the Factory Act 1881, it was not adequately suitable to the Indian industries. But then also the workers or the industrialists have followed the Indian Factories Act 1881 and which was no protect to protect the interest of employees, and it was clear means it was not adequately applicable to the Indian situations. But then also they were enforced that right in India. Then the system of collective bargaining was totally absent. Means first and foremost, the worker group was very poor. So who was taking fight against the employers for collective bargaining for accomplishing the demands? No one was taking action against the employers. Why? Because these people were poor. If they were taking action against the employer, definitely they had exploited on various crowd. Means the point is here clear. The collective bargaining was totally absent during that period. And in several industries, the workers went on strike every now and then to secure wage increases. Means up to that age, various industries, several industries, their workers went on strike, get out, etc. For what purpose they went on strike and get out? To secure, to protect their services, to secure wage increases. But they could not succeed to secure their wages or to secure their jobs or services in industries. So friends, that is why latter the collective bargaining is vital in the industrial jurisprudence. Next, role of Narayan Meghaji Lokhande. The role of Narayan Meghaji Lokhande in the trade unionism. Narayan Meghaji Lokhande, he was a labor leader and he led a labor movement and formed Bombay Mill Hands Association. Means first and foremost, Narayan Meghaji Lokhande, he was formed the Bombay Mill Hands Association and succeeded a weekly holiday system. Weekly holiday system for Bombay Mill Owners Association. Means friends, see here, before 1918, the Narayan Meghaji Lokhande, he was formed the association, Bombay Millhand Association, and first provision he was made. Weekly holiday should get to the workers. Whole day weekly holiday, that provision was envisaged by Narayan Meghaji Lokhande during that period. Then in 1918, trade union movement in India became more organized and formed varieties of unions. Then after, the trade union movement in India became more organized. This maximum of several trade union movements was started. And after that, number of trade unions were formed or constituted in India during 1918. For example, Indian Coolie or Employees Association, Indian Coolies Association, Employees Association, Indian Seamen's Association or Union, Railway Men's Union, Port Trust, Employees Union, etc. Means number of unions were formed or constituted after 1918. Then after, meanwhile, Gandhiji formed the Textile Labor Association in 1920. Meanwhile, Mahatma Gandhiji formed, constituted the Textile Labor Association in 1920 for fulfilling the demands of spinner and weavers society. Means first, Narayan Meghaji Lokhande has taken initiative to form the Bombay Mill Hands Association and succeeded to weekly holiday system for Bombay Mill Owners Association. When later, Mahatma Gandhi has formed the Textile Labor Association in the year of 1920. So friend, in the 1920, actually before 1919, there was started or begins of the International Labour Organization on the context of the various issues of the laborers. Means there one institution was constituted, International Labour Organization. It was taken birth in the year of 1919, only to protect the human rights of the laborers. And immediately Mahatma Gandhiji was formed one association, and the name of that association was Textile Labor Association, and it was formed in the year of 1920, only for fulfilling the demands of the spinner and weaver societies. After that, in the year of 1920, at Bombay established the All India Trade Union Congress, AITUC, All India Trade Union Congress, and it was led by Lala Lajpat Rai. Lala Lajpat Rai means it's the best and broader union which was established in the year of 1920 at the national level union, and the national level union was the All India Trade Union Congress, and it was led by Lala Lajpat Rai. Then after, Bombay Mill case in the year of 1920. The Bombay Mill case of 1920 is very important in the sphere of the industrial jurisprudence. The Bombay Mill case of 1920, over which Madras High Court witnessed. Actually, Madras High Court, it is the best witness of this Bombay Mill case 1920, but because labor union forbidding by an interim injunction against the laborer strike, which was pointed about some necessary legislation for protecting the sustained trade union in India. Means this case only for to maintain or to sustain the trade union in India. That is why the case is very important, Bombay Mill case 1920. Then after the result of this case, as a result, Mr. N.M. Joshi, the then General Secretary of All India Trade Union, means the All India Trade Union Association, it was led by Lala Lajpat Rai. But here, the Secretary of the Joshi, Mr. Joshi of All India Trade Union Congress, moved a resolution in the Central Legislation Assembly in the year of 1920. Means firstly, that case was heard by the Madras High Court. But the rights of the case has not given the adequate fruit in the favor of the laborers. So that is why the Secretary of the All India Trade Union Congress moved to a resolution in the Central Legislative Assembly in the year of 1921 for recommending the government to introduce legislation for the registration and protection of trade union existence in India. This for what purpose? The Joshi Vyara approach to the Legislative Assembly in the year of 1921, only for to getting rights of the trade unions, means in the context of registration and protection of the trade union's existence in India. Means trade union should be registered trade union, and as per the statute, as per the legislative provision, this trade union should be protected. That is why this trade union should be registered trade unions during 1921. That is why Mr. Joshi Vyara approached to the Legislative Assembly for the registration and protection of the trade union existence in India. Later, the resolution was strongly objected by Bombay Mill owners, and it took a long bed rest on the table of the Central Legislative Assembly. Means actually it was long before 1921, but the Legislative Assembly has taken a long time to decision on the Bombay Mill or such provisions. While in the year of 1924, after 3 years, in the year of 1924, many communist leaders were arrested and prosecuted against aggressive and lengthy strike. Means during that period, number of communist leaders were arrested and prosecuted against aggressive and lengthy strike. Why? Because they were participated in the lengthy strike. That is why they were arrested. And from the period, number of Indian working classes, including Peasants' Party, united and the demanded Indian government through the All India Trade Union Congress to pass an act to protect the interest of all India workers group, which result the Trade Union Act 1926 in India. Okay, means communist leaders were arrested and prosecuted against aggressive and lengthy strike, but its result was positive trend. Why? Because the All India Trade Union Congress has passed that to protect the interest of all Indian workers group, and which result in the year of 1926, the Trade Union Act was passed. Is firstly in the year of 1921, All India Trade Union Congress Secretary Joshi Vyara approached to the Legislative Assembly to protect the rights of the trade union, that trade union should be registered, but they did have taken a lot of time to take a decision. But in the year of 1924, number of leaders were arrested. But ultimately, All India Trade Union Congress has once again demanded to the Indian government to pass the Trade Union Act. Means this Trade Union Act should pass to protect the rights of the trade union as well as workers of the Indians. So that is why Bombay Mill case was very important in the industrial jurisprudence. Then after, rights to trade union as a part of human rights. Rights to trade union as part of human rights. How the trade union has become the part of the human rights. So friend, in the year of 1990, started of the International Labour Organization only for the labor issues. So here, that labor organization has given number of human rights only to protect the rights of the laborers. So the right to form and join trade unions means first and foremost human rights of the laborer. They have right, every worker has a right to form and join the trade union, like to collectively bargaining. They have right to make collective bargaining and to strike and universal human rights. They have right to go on strike. Means all these are the human rights at the international level. And these rights have been our gods since our beginning. Means friend. International Labour Organization, it is the best for the trade unions, working groups of India. Why? Because International Labour Organization has formed number of human rights, and these human rights are universally applicable. Universally applicable. So here, there are some examples of the human rights that has been envisaged by or incorporated by the International Labour Organization. The right to form and join trade unions, to collectively bargaining, to go on strikes, etc. Latter, an injury to one is an injury to all. An injury to one is an injury to all. Means one's rights has been violated, so all the workers' rights has been violated. So that is why an injury to one is an injury to all. Trade unionists are the foremost of the struggle for human rights. But standing up for fairness, justice, freedom, and truth can come at the heavy price. Why an injury to one is an injury to all? But because trade unionists are the forefront of the struggle for the human rights. Trade union only for the struggle for the human rights, but standing up for fairness. Why it was standing? For what purpose it was standing? For the fairness, for the justice, for freedom and truth can come to a heavy price. So that is why trade union have faced number of problems only for the human rights of the workers. And many union leaders have lost their lives or risked their liberty in their attempt to claim basic human rights. So friends, number of leaders, communist leaders, they were lost their life. They had taken risk on their liberty to attempt to claim the basic human rights of the laborers. After that, trade unionists are committed to social justice. Trade unionists are committed to social justice and international solidarity and typically have strong community roots. This can make them prime target of government repression or suppression. This what was the main object of the trade unionist? To commit social justice. Okay, to bring, to secure, to protect the social justice, international solidarity, and typically have strong community roots. And this can make price target of government repression or suppressions. Latter, they have to deal with their organizations being bad. And that is why they have to deal with their organization being banned. Harassment, political killings, and disappearances, arbitrary detention, torture, and murder. This is what was the effect of that policy. Ultimately, it's a harm to the workers. These organizations, these associations, these unions were banned. Workers were harassed, physically or mentally, they were harassed, socially harassed. Political killings and disappearances, arbitrary detention, arbitrary detention, torture, and murder of the workers. Means all these happen with the workers during that time. Next, workers' rights are human rights. Workers' rights are human rights. Laborers' rights are the human rights. Yes, International Labour Organization has stated all human rights, all workers' rights are the human rights. All laborers' rights are the human rights. Why? Because all human rights are applicable to the all workers at the universal level, at the international level. In the United Nations, Union affiliate to us, Amnesty International, means UK Union affiliate to Amnesty International, means all workers' rights are the international. It is also recognized by the UK unions, and they are amongst our staunchest, honest supporters and activists. Many of the national sections of Amnesty work closely with union in their countries. Means number of unions we are support to that UK unions. Later, internationally, we are coordinating our intelligence. Strategies of company with the global union to tackle the profound challenges of impunity, labor exploitation, and restriction on the fundamental freedom of assembly, association, and expressions. Means internationally, we are coordinating our intelligence, strategies, and campaigned with the global union to tackle the professional challenges of impunity. Impunity means CFHS. Labor exploitation, we should have to stop impunity, labor exploitations, and restrictions on the fundamental freedoms of assembly, association, and expressions. Later, we are ordinary people from around the world standing up for humanity and human rights. We are ordinary people from around the world standing up for humanity and human rights, standing up together. We can make a difference where fairness, justice, and freedom are denied. And friend, last point is here. We are ordinary people. We are ordinary people, gentle people from around the world standing up for humanity and human rights. We are the general people, ordinary people, but we are standing only for our humanity and human rights. Standing up together means we come together, we standing together, we can make a differences wherever fairness, justice, and freedom are denied. Then friend, today we shall stop here. So, thank you.